Hi, this is Maria from Kinder-Craze once again. Finishing up my talk about Sterlite bins and decorating them and fancying them up for you. I'm in my classroom right now. It's summer vacation, so things are a little slim, but I have my Sterlite bins with me to kind of talk to you about. These are the ones that I taped together, and these are the ones that I Mod Podged. I want to start by talking to you about the taping process. The nice thing about if you choose to tape your bins is that you don't need to be particularly good at anything to do it. You just make a template, put it on flat, and go ahead and put tape around all of the edges. Literally, you can't really see it very well on the film, but I have tape that goes all the way around, like literally coating the entire top edge, the entire bottom edge, and the sides. And I did it all the way around, lots and lots and lots of tape. The downside of using tape is that the paper isn't very well protective. It's attached very well with the tape, but if something sharp comes along and pokes it, it could get torn or scratched, or something could happen to it after a while. I am not very hard on any of my bins. I don't use them a ton. I don't go in and out of them. My kids definitely don't use them. So the tape works just fine for me. I'm gentle on my things, and I know that nothing's going to happen to them. Another huge advantage of using the tape process is the paper stays dry the whole time you're working with it. If you tape it in the wrong spot, you just gently lift it back up and you reposition it, and it's not a problem. Dry paper is very, very, very easy to work with. It's much more forgiving of your mistakes. So, that's tape. Mod Podging is another whole beast in its own. I'm glad I did Mod Podge these, but I have some experience with Mod Podge, but not a lot. I'm certainly not an expert at it, and because I'm not an expert, there were some flaws in my bins. They're totally usable, but they're not quite perfect. To illustrate, I think you can kind of see, if I turn this so that the glare isn't on it, you can probably see how some parts of the front of it are lighter and other parts are darker. That's not weird glare or weird lighting in my classroom. That's what happened to it. Some parts are lighter and some parts are darker. This one section in particular, I did not have enough Mod Podge down originally for the first layer. I put the paper on top and I didn't have enough Mod Podge down, and so you could see pretty clearly the parts that had more and the parts that had less Mod Podge. I think actually the cloudy ones you see are from less Mod Podge. I think that's like a little bit of air or something in there, but I'm not sure. I just know it didn't turn out totally all the same, and it's because I didn't have a ton of Mod Podge on the surface. Also, I talked about this a little bit in my Mod Podging how to put this together video, but the excess glue that's on the boxes likes to peel up, and if it's just glue, it's not an issue if it peels up. The problem is that the excess glue that might be touching the actual paper that's been glued down, if you lift that up, the paper tries to lift up with it too, and once it lifts up a little, it shows kind of a lot. If you look at this portion right here, it's not showing up very well, but it's a lighter patch. That's because this piece of paper started to peel up when I trimmed off the excess glue and peeled off the excess glue. This started to go with it. It's very, very subtle. No one would probably notice it except for me. I was very careful, and so if it happened to you a lot, it would show quite a bit. Also, it's kind of warm and humid in my classroom right now, and when I touch the Mod Podge, it's dry, but it's responding to my fingers. I can feel the somewhat stickiness of it. It's not bad. I don't think anything will actually stick to it, but the humidity doesn't have a great effect on this. The other thing that kind of happened is when I was putting this together, because I'm not a huge expert and because Mod Podge is a substance that will make the paper wet, you have to be very, very careful with the paper while you're working with it. There were a couple of spots where when I was trying to smooth out air bubbles, I was a little bit hard on the paper and the paper started to give or to tear a little bit. since it was glue, I just kind of smushed it back into place, and it's very subtle. I don't think anyone would ever notice, but it happened to me a couple of times. If I happened to glue it down and it wasn't positioned correctly, once I lifted it up and tried to glue it again, it became less manageable to work with. It started dry. The dry paper was easy to put down, but the wet gluey paper that already had some glue on it was a little bit more difficult to work with. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of the other. This is not so durable, but it was much easier to put together, and it's much more forgiving of your mistakes in the process. I'm sure I made mistakes, but none of them are really showing. It's evenly done all the way through. There aren't any rips or tears or anything in the paper. The bins that I put together with Mod Podge are more durable. They last longer, except possibly in excess humidity. Jury's still out on that one. But it shows all of your mistakes. So if you don't have a lot of experience with Mod Podge, I would say maybe for the first time around, try doing taping instead. Mod Podge it's a really ambitious first Mod Podge project to take on. If you have experience with Mod Podge, then and you're comfortable with it, and you know the ins and outs, and you know how to avoid air bubbles, and you're good with Mod Podge, I would definitely recommend it. For me, I have no regrets about doing either of these. I don't feel inclined at all to redo these with Mod Podge for my classroom because I love how they turned out. I love that it wasn't quite so tedious. It was tedious, but I didn't have to worry about making mistakes along the way. And it looks beautiful in my classroom. So both methods work. You just need to choose the one that's right for you. Best of luck to you as you fancy up your Sterlite drawers, and I hope you love them as much as I love mine. I'm Maria from Kinder-Craze. Thanks so much, and I'll see you later. Bye!